He's got his eye on you. You can hold hands. Yeah. You might think correctly. I've been a bit formulaic this week, haven't I? Like ATM at the beginning of every morning. Anyway, because it's standing lessons. I don't think you'd thank me for doing a standing lesson after lunch, would you? All right. So where did your mind go in that space, that silence? And if it went off out of the room, that's okay. That's something to notice. If you took the opportunity to have a conversation with the floor, what kind of questions were you asking, or were there comments in your conversation with the floor? And slowly roll over and come up to standing. And begin to walk. So walking around the mat, so that it's not a straight line walking necessarily. And begin to pay particular attention to the way your weight goes onto one leg and comes off and goes onto the other leg. And with what amount of felicity does it do that? So ease and joy. And is there more ease on one leg and more joy on the other, or does the ease and the joy go together, or you don't have a favorite? Remembering that these questions can lead to more questions or more curiosity. And then pay attention to your walking, and then as you're walking past other people, look at their levels of felicity. So how do you divide your attention between your internal sense of walking and their external manifestation of walking? Can you do that? Can you switch your attention between you and other? Do you get lost in the other, or do you get lost in yourself? Do you go into judgment, like, oh, gee, they walk so well, I wish I walked like them? Or do you go, gee, they walk really strange, like, what's wrong with them? And they got, acorn up their bum or what? So do you go into some other realm, or do you simply watch? Do you simply observe and see what you see and leave it there without going into that next level of thinking? Okay, slowly make your way back to your mat. But don't lie down. But don't lie down. Did you say, oh, thank God? Oh, yeah, thank God she didn't make me lie down. There's an interesting reframing. Good for you. And stand on your left leg and have your right leg out to the side. And your left arm over the top of your head. And begin to tilt to the left. So this bizarre movement, my friends, is now has now the elements of an emerging habit, doesn't it? So this process I was talking yesterday about, what was quite a declarative piece of learning where you had to kind of talk through the steps of, okay, this goes here, this goes there, I feel this, I do that. And now you kind of, there's an automaticity about it. So how do you find that balancing point, literally, between you being aware of it, but also noticing that it has an element of now being a procedure or a habit? That there now is a way that you do it. There's an inherent tension between these two things of, yeah. See, there you go. I got lost in watching and lost my train of thought. Multitasking sucks. Okay. And then take your arm down and quietly shift your weight onto the other leg and reverse the process. Sometimes I stop and listen to myself when I say quietly shift your weight. What would noisy weight shifting be? Yeah. Yeah, don't let your bones crack. We don't like that noise. So slowly. And is that leg to the side losing weight? Is it getting lighter? It certainly looks like it's losing weight, sort of popping up. And what's the sense of stability on that standing leg? And pay attention to this notion that to enhance the mobility of the lifting leg, you're improving the stability of the standing leg. So that might be, I mean, Beck and I were talking about this yesterday, that you know, you might feel like your standing leg is also your kicking leg. However, which is true, you know, that's why this is a problematic thing to sort of dichotomize these functions, because our neurology isn't as neat as that, because we are bipedal. All right, just go for a little walk. Just go for a little walk. How can I, please, can you? Quite, can you please go for a quiet little walk? Thank you. Just. Yeah. 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 And back to your spot. Come back to your spot and back onto your left leg. And was it with felicity that you think the next thing's on my left leg because that's your little favourite? Or is there less felicity because your right leg's your favourite? Can you catch yourself out? And put your left arm over the top of your head and your right arm's over to the side. Right leg, sorry. And tilt to the left. And now maintaining the tilt and breathing, shift the weight onto the ball of your left foot and lift your left heel a little bit, a few times. Like it kind of pops up into the air. So you stay tilted and it's like you pop up in the air, pop up in the air. How do you move your weight forwards on that side leg, on that standing leg? Impossible. Probable. Lift your left heel. Yep. And after you've kind of popped up off of your left heel a few times, next time you lift your left heel, swing it out to the left a bit and then back to the middle. So when it comes down to the ground, it's a little bit to the left of you. So you're pivoting around your toes a bit. And then you kind of hop up and it comes back to the middle. And then you hop up and it goes to the right. So it goes to the middle of you. Yeah. And then change the speed of it so it could be a bit slower. So vary the tempo a little bit from being that's a technical term, to a we're not transcribing, so it doesn't matter. And is it easier to go slow with the heel going out or going in? Probably tells you a little bit about your relationship to whether you like your hip going in or out. And then could you move it in one piece from the inside to the outside, like not stopping mid-zone, as it were? What does your left knee do to accommodate this? I would suggest a slight softening so that when you land on your heels, you're not landing on a stiff knee. You're only on one foot. Yeah, your right leg is the outrigger. Go for a little walk, just in case you're efforting. Just in case, as if you would. As if. You're finding that you have to catch your breath because you're holding your breath. That used to be where I'd catch myself out. When I'd stop, I'd realise I have to do a few little catch-up breaths, and I think, was holding my breath. That's knowledge of results, after the feedback after the fact. But you still feed that back into the system so that when you make the plan for the next time, you're better. Quality improvement cycle. Back to your spot. And standing on your left leg with your right leg out to the side on the big toe. You can leave your arm down this time. And this time, tilt to the right, to the left, sorry. I was looking at Linda, got my lesson rights mixed up. It's it's catching. It's catching. No, you're doing fine. Tilt to the left and keep it there. Now find a way to lift your toes of the left foot. The left foot. So your weight goes to the heel. And then when you feel that that's kind of clear, that you can tip your weight to the heel and it's okay, you'll still live, find a way to pivot to the toes more to the outside. But you keep the weight on the left heel. And yes, you stay tipping to the left. Bless you. And then your toes can pivot inwards, inland. Yep. And then your toes pivot outward again. And they could go via the middle. But how do you find this way of... So this is a weird thing, right? You're finding mobility on the stable leg. What the hell? Like what is he thinking? Doesn't he know mechanics? But it's interesting, isn't it? How do you not sacrifice the stability of keeping the weight on the left leg and have it mobile, so you're turning around that leg, or the leg's turning around underneath you, or however. There's a few different strategies that you're doing. And is your knee soft? Or is the way that you're getting stability to stiffen the knee? Can you soften your knee? That's yes or no. Not a good open-ended question. Have a try with a softer knee. Rest a little bit in standing. Okay, and now come back onto your left leg with your right leg out as an outrigger. It's not taking weight as such, it's just a little, it's just there. And tilt to the left so that the right leg has a very tenuous kind of relationship with the ground. And now begin this movement of lifting your heel and taking it out to the left and leave it there, and then lift your toes and take them to the left, and then alternate. So you're, no, not bringing them back in. So you're actually going to do a little funny kind of walk to the left. So if you're on your, gorgeous, if you're on your mat, you might need to get off or whatever, and make a bit of space. Yeah. And if you want to put a bit of pizzazz into it, you can put a bit of pizzazz into it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the satin and sparkle ladies. Whoa-hey. All right. Okay. Okay. And then see if you can slow it down a little bit. See if you can take a bit of the sparkle out. Not, you don't have to take the sparkle out of it. But could you do it in a kind of somber way? A zombie way. How would a zombie do this? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. Alison, I hate to tell you, but you do a good zombie. You've heard that before? All right, good. Come back to your spot. And now shift your weight onto your right leg and have your left leg out to the side. And in your own time, as if you've got any other time except your own, explore this idea of taking the weight off your heel and just lifting your heel up and moving it left and right, and then the toes on their own left and right, and then putting the two together. How interested are you in exploring the process? Or are you happy to go straight to the outcome, if you like? But what do you feel that you need to clarify in terms of that shifting the weight forwards and backwards on the standing leg? So getting that idea of turning the standing leg underneath you in different ways. What does your system need to be aware of? In a way, what do you need to warm up? What concepts do you need to introduce? So for me, you know what, there's so much that I have learnt that's contrary to my nature in Feldenkrais, and one of them is to stay with the process of, because I am so outcome oriented, it's not funny. Well, actually, it is funny, makes me laugh. What I've come to appreciate in Feldenkrais is the process. So what is it for you that where do you get lost? Where's your interest? And are these movements reversible, any of them? Are they so slow that you could actually stop midair and come back? And here's the thing, are you paying attention to the rest of yourself? So what's your pelvis doing? What's your breathing doing? Where are your eyes? What about your sternum? What about anything else? And now there's a final kind of, it's not a physical constraint, but it is sort of a sort of. Continue to do this movement and keep the front of you in the same plane so that you don't turn, so you keep your trunk as a piece, as it were. Yep, so that's the final kind of clarification now that you've all had your fun. Yep, so you're tilted and your leg is swiveling underneath you so that you're walking. And you'll probably notice it is somewhat easier to walk to the right than the left, but ultimately you'll be able to do both. And now keep your trunk always facing forward so that there's no rotation of the trunk or the shoulders or the pelvis. So if that piece of the trunk is the pelvis and the shoulders, that kind of square, if you like, it's not a square, it's a rectangle. Square would be funny. It stays in the same plane. If you put your hands on your pelvis, does that help? Hands on the top of your iliac crests. Does that give you a clue about when you're actually, if you are twisting in your pelvis? Sorry? Oh yeah, there you go. That's another little bit of feedback. If your arms are dangling. Lovely. Have a little walk. Does a little walk mean a little distance or a little steps or a little whatever? Just mean oh. And lie down. Talk about waking up your hip joints. Burning in your oh. Right. Just looked up and noticed Philippa. You're doing that Kiwi guy. Oh, look at you. There's more of you. Oh, look. You bunch of rebels. So naughty. So naughty. And notice the way you're lying on the floor and whether you feel uptight and whether you have an acorn up your bum. Oh, you're hilarious. Very hilarious. I had, because I've been cultivating introversion, I hadn't told any of my colleagues I was over here, and one of them had emailed me and noticed I was out of office, so she emailed me. It was her text yesterday, actually, that, I've forgotten to bring this, saying, "Are you in Melbourne? Can we catch up?" So I was sprung. So last night we went out for dinner. People were very polite. They never, over here, they never quite ask exactly what I'm doing, but they know it's kind of weird. Some of them say, "Are you doing that spiraling stuff?" But she's saying about teaching, you must be really tired. I said, no, this group, they teach themselves. It's so nice, from an academic point of view, where sometimes it's like pulling teeth. And we're kind of building in a lot of passivity around learning now in universities in terms of just spoon feeding. I feel like a mother bird at university where the chick's just opening their mouth and I'm poking stuff in. And here it's Yeah, that I've already chewed for them, absolutely, and put in PDF and told them, highlighted the bits that they need to learn. How many times do I get an email saying, from that lecture you did last week, what are the bits I need to learn? It's like, oh, fuck off. Like, do you think I just say it for the hell of it? And if you write back everything, they get so shitty. Yeah. And how do you expect us to learn all that? How do you expect us to learn all that? Well, how do I expect you to learn it? I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, they don't come to lectures anyway. They chipmunk you. They get the podcast and play it on fast forward. Anyway, so it's a delight. Your naughtiness is also a delight.